Hello and welcome to Design and Engaging Content with Widgets. In this video we're going to give you an overview of the different types of widgets and tools available to you. We're going to look at customizing three of the most popular, which are text, images and videos. We'll then look at the dynamic widgets for real-time updates. Once you've logged into your digital signage solution, you'll be redirected to the home page. From the home page we're going to start by making a new creative. So simply click on the New Creative button once. It will now ask me whether I wish to use a pre-made template where I can edit the data within it, or I can start with a blank page. For this video, we're going to start with a blank page, so I'm going to move to the plus symbol and press it once. Now we're on a new creative. On the left-hand side are my widgets, and widgets are how we'll bring our content in. Widgets are divided into 5 different sections. We have the Essential, Media, General, Advanced and Embed. At the top of the widget section we have a search bar, so if you struggle to find the widget you would like, simply type in the name and it will then locate it for you. In the middle of our screen is our canvas, and this is what we will add our widgets to, and this is what will eventually be published to your digital signage screen. At the top we have a selection of tools. On the right hand side are our settings. Our settings will change depending on which widget we're using. At the moment we're on the default settings tab called Creative. The first thing I want to do is rename my creative. All I need to do is simply move to the bar next to the name, click it once, and then I can simply overtype. Underneath I can add a description of my creative. I can then change the aspect ratio. I can change the resolutions by simply clicking on resolutions, moving to the width or the height, and then simply overtyping or using the up and down arrows. I can change my editor units from percentages to pixels. I can change from landscape to portrait. And if I move down, we have appearance. This is where we can choose a background. To choose a background, simply click on the drop-down menu. I can now choose one of the many royalty-free backgrounds supplied by Unsplash. To use one, simply move to the background you would like and press on it once. The background will automatically cover your canvas. To keep it, just press the OK button. If you prefer to use a solid colour, we have some pre-made colours at the top. You can scroll through to find the right colour for you. Once you find it, simply click on the colour and the background will change. If you cannot find the colour you would like, simply scroll to the very beginning and click on the plus button. From here, we can choose to have a gradient, we can choose a colour from the colour palette, we can choose to add a hex colour code, and we can change transparency. Once you find the colour you would like, simply click OK and then OK a second time. But for this video, we're going to use this brick wallpaper. I'm now going to click OK, and my background is set. Now I can start to add the widgets to my canvas. At the top under Essentials, the first one we're going to look at is text. I can bring a widget onto my canvas in 2 different ways. I can either press and hold my mouse button down on top of the widget and then simply move on top of my canvas and then let go. Alternatively, if I press on it once, it will appear in the middle of my canvas. To move a widget around your canvas, simply press and hold your mouse button down and move your mouse to the location you would like to have your text. To resize a widget, move the cursor down to the side or to a corner until the cursor changes to 2 arrows. Then simply press and hold your mouse button down and drag it to cover the area you would like to have the text. In this video, I'm going to have a message along the bottom. So I'm going to resize my widget, have it running across the bottom of my page. I'm going to leave a slight border either side. Now to add my text, all I need to do is simply click into the widget once, and then our settings will appear. From here, I can choose a different font. I can go to the cloud with the up arrow and I can upload my corporate font using a TTF file. I can change the size of my text. So I'm going to make that one 44. You can change the color of the text. We can then change it to italic, bold, underline, and we can then adjust the alignment. For this one, I'm simply going to have a welcome message. If I now move over to the right hand side, we've got two additional settings. The first one is we can use GIF text. This is where it will make our text animated. Simply click on GIF text. It will then generate whatever wording is within the text bar. So I'm just going to put welcome to our office. Click on generate text and it will then generate for me. If you do not see the animation you would like, simply click on load more and then click on the plus symbol when you find the correct one and then click add. It will now add the animation at the bottom. If you wish to fill the text box in with a solid color, simply move to the right hand side. We've now got appearance. Here we can either fill the background in, so I'm going to add a light blue. Click OK, and I can add a colored frame if I want to. So I'm going to go for a black frame to make it nice and easy to see. So now we've added a black frame round, we put a solid color in, and we've animated our text. I'm going to remove the GIF-any, and I'm just going to have welcome to our office. Next thing I'm going to do is add an image. To do this, we're going to follow the same steps but with the image widget. This time I'm going to drag it onto my canvas, position it roughly where I'd like it, and then simply let go. Now I'm going to resize. Okay. And to add the image, all I need to do now is move it over to the right hand side. Here we can see media that we've already uploaded. If you cannot see an image that you would like to use, simply click on Open Media Center, move along and click on Upload Media. We can now choose the location that our asset is kept. It may be on my device, so on your computer, or it may be on a shared device such as Google Drive or SharePoint. We can also bring content in from Dropbox, Unsplash, Pixabay, Canva, and post to my wall. For this video, I'm going to use my device, and it will then open up the last folder that you used. Exactly the same as if you were adding an attachment to an email. You can navigate through your files to find the correct image. For this video, I'm going to use branding JPEG. I'm then going to move down and click Open. The image has now appeared within my media center. To add it, make sure it's ticked, and now we're going to move to the top right hand corner and click on Add to Creatives. The image has now been added to our canvas. To change it, just simply choose a different image and it will automatically change for you. You may notice that our widget is slightly bigger than our image. This doesn't really matter because it is transparent above and below. However, if you wish the widget to fit exactly to your image, all we need to do is move across to the right hand side, click on Size and Positioning, and then click on the padlock. Make sure it's unlocked, and now I can resize the widget. I'm now going to lock it again, and now when I resize my widget, it will keep the same shape that we made the widget into. Now we've added all of our images and our text, the next item we're going to bring in is video, and we're going to follow exactly the same step. This time we're going to go to the media section, and there we can find our video widget. I'm going to drag that onto my canvas and let go. And again, exactly the same process. You will notice that any videos that I've already added to my media center will appear on the right hand side. So I'm going to add this video here. I'm going to resize my widget. And then I'm going to just make sure that the widget fits the video perfectly. Make sure it's unlocked. And then you can just pull it down. Lock it again. And then I just reposition it. And you'll notice as I get the video either central, we get the line across. So it's slightly different size to my image. I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger, and we're now getting close because we're seeing those multiple lines. There we go. So they're now roughly the same size. Now that we've added our image, video and text, we can use some of the tools if we wish to do so. It may be I want these two to always stay in alignment. So if I move outside of both of the images, I can then press and hold my mouse button, drag my mouse across, and this will highlight both widgets. If I move to the top, I can click on grouping. This will now join these two widgets together, as in if I move one, the other one will follow. So if I now move it, they'll move in unison. If I wish to ungroup them, make sure that you clicked on one of the widgets and then simply click on ungroup. If I wanted one of them to be full screen, all I need to do is use the 4 arrows pointing in the opposite directions, and it will then make it fit the area of my canvas. Okay, so I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller again. So move it down. There we go, just put it roughly there. There we go, it's a little bit bigger now, but that's absolutely fine. Next thing I can do is I can copy it if I wish to do so. I can cut it, I can paste it, I can delete it, I can position it. So if I click on position, it will help me with alignment, so I can add an image on top of another image. Maybe is a solid colored image, and I can then add another image on top, which will give me a border, as well as a line to canvas. The last button is our share button, and this is how we can share this creative with a colleague. And there is a separate video on how to share your canvas as well as your playlist. Now we've got the image, video and text at the bottom. Next thing we're going to do is look at some real-time live updates. And one of the easiest ones to do is the RSS feed. RSS stands for Real Simple Syndication, and this is how we can bring in live data. It's commonly used for things such as news, traffic and travel. If I again drag it onto my canvas, and I'm going to let go, and this time I'm going to stretch it right across, so it's going to match roughly the size of my text box. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, and then I'm just going to position it directly underneath welcome to our office. Now we can't see all of it, but that's absolutely fine because we can now make some amendments, because again our settings on the right hand side have changed. The first one is the URL. So I can use the drop down menu, and I can use one of the pre-installed RSS feeds. So I can click on BBC World News. I can then click in the box and I could paste a different RSS in if I wanted to. I can then look at how often it's reloaded. So how often will it reach out to the BBC and see if there are any additional information. I can change things such as the date format, so we can see the date down here in the title. I can drop down and I can choose from one of the many pre-made, or I could even go custom, where I can then add in the different patterns. So for example, I can put HH, :MM, click outside the box, and it will now change to just the clock. I can have it moving because RSS in some way needs to move. So the speed would depend whether it's going faster or slower. If I move to the direction, at the moment it's going to scroll up the screen, and we actually want it to go from right to left. So as soon as I did that, we can see it's actually fitting into that area a lot more easily now and looking a lot better. If I move across under title, we can either have the title before the body of news, or if I click on after, it will switch them over. I can now do things such as get rid of the date, so I can click on none. I could remove the title if I wanted to, or change it to a date. I can change the exact order that the RSS will come in. If I want to change the body of the text, I can simply go to down the bottom here. So we've got the text. I can go to text format, and it may be that I want to change the font. So I'm going to put that to actor. I can change the size. I can change the color. I can then change it to italic, bold and underline, as well as the alignment. So exactly the same as we did with the text. Okay. So very easily, our screen is now going to be constantly updated with live data. Another widely used and easy to use live update would be the weather. So if I come over to the left hand side, we can see the weather widget up here under Essentials. And I'm going to drag that on, and I'm going to make it quite small, this one. There we go. So I'm going to position it just at the top there. Now I'm going to move over to the right hand side, and again our settings have changed. So I can change the location. So for this one I'm going to put London, England. So I'm going to choose the very first one, give it a tick, click OK, and we can see it's now changed to London weather. Under date I can have the current date, or I could have the weather for today. I can move down, I can change the label from London, so it may be a part of London. So if I type in Waterloo, which is a part of London, I can then come down. I can choose to have Celsius and Fahrenheit, or just have Celsius or just Fahrenheit. Under title format, again, I can change my font size, and I can change my color. I can then look at italic, bold, underline, as well as my alignment. And again, if I come down, we're now going to look at the body of the content. So do we want to see the conditions? Do we want to see humidity? And do we want to see visibility? These we can add or remove just by simply ticking or unticking. We can change the language. We can click on content format, and we can then change again the font size and color. So very quickly and easily, we have brought in images, video, and a text. We've brought in two different live bits of data. So we've got the RSS along the bottom, and we've then got our weather at the top. But if we move over to the left-hand side, we've also got different widgets such as Slideshow. And a slideshow is where we can add images, video, and text into one box. It would mean I wouldn't need to have these separate boxes. We would just have one box, and we can choose the order that the content will appear in. And there's a separate video on Slideshow. We could add a ticker instead of text, and a ticker is moving text. It does very similar items, but you would tend to use ticker if there was a lot more text, because we can have it scrolling up the screen or across the screen. We can bring in GIFs, which is a series of images made to look like a video. Media RSS is very similar to the RSS, except it would also bring in images along with the text. We can display YouTube videos by using the URL under the share item of the YouTube video. We can use FTP sites, where if you've got an FTP folder on your computer, all you need to do is add images and videos to it, and it would automatically update on your screen. So again, it's a form of live data, and it's very quick and easy to keep your screen up together. Next to that, we have Instagram. We can stream, so we can bring in live streaming channels using a URL. We can add labels, and the difference between a label and a text is a label would normally be shorter, and I don't have to highlight all of my text to change it. If I made a single change to the size, for example, the whole of the text would change automatically. We can add clocks and timers. We can add shapes to add borders maybe, or to bring items together. We can make our creative interactive. So when we touch on an interactive screen on a creative, it would change to another creative or to a different website. We can use ad serving, where we can connect to third-party software. Calendars, so this is bringing in internet calendars such as Google Calendars. Dashboards, where we can bring in Microsoft Power BI and other charts and pies. There we go, there's a selection there for you to choose from. We can bring in tables, we can bring in Smart Switch, which can be used in quite a few different ways, but two of the most common, it could be the start and stop to come into a building. So if you've got a capacity limit, you could use Smart Switch to tell people, no, you're not allowed in, we're at full capacity. As soon as someone leaves, it would then change to green to allow people in. Or you could use it simply to call a serving staff across to your table. Underneath that, we have web image, where we can bring in a URL for an image on the web, and then whenever they change that image, the image would automatically change within our creative, and the same for video. Sub creative is where we can have a master creative, distribute it to lots of different screens and offices around the world, and it means that it's all the same. So it's like a master creative, but individual locations will be able to edit part of that creative to localize it. And we can also embed videos and content. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video of looking at designing engaging content with widgets.